DJI Pocket 3 versus iPhone 16 Pro Max. Which one is a better camera for your particular needs? Of course guys, both are incredibly versatile tools for filmmaking, and today I'm gonna be comparing them in D-Log-M on DJI, 10-bit of course, and in Apple Log on the 16 Pro Max, because those formats reduce over-sharpening and overall give you much more natural image quality and the best image quality possible with those devices. So here are two images side by side, ungraded. On the iPhone we use the 0.5x camera, ultra-wide, and it is a bit wider than the Pocket 3. It's like about 20mm full frame equivalent on the Pocket and about 13mm on the iPhone. But when we zoom into the image about 500% scale, we can tell that the image quality is more or less comparable, but DJI is slightly better in this mode because it has simply closer focal length. Then we switch the iPhone to the 1x camera, the primary camera with the biggest sensor and with the best image quality. And the 1x camera has a bit tighter focal length, about 24mm full frame equivalent. When we zoom in 500%, the image quality on the iPhone is actually better. I see more details, not a lot of noise, and overall the image quality is more preferable on the iPhone. With the latest firmware update on the DJI Pocket 3, we have a better quality 2x digital crop, but it doesn't work in D-Log-M unfortunately, so right now we'll be taking a look at the regular digital zoom, which is not as good in terms of the image quality. So here you can see the 2x digital zoom on the left on the Pocket 3 and the 2x camera from the 48 megapixel from the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and the image quality difference is very obvious guys. The 2x on the iPhone has much more detail, less aliasing, and I would definitely prefer the iPhone in this regard. I know it's not super fair guys, but still the iPhone has the 5x camera, so let's just have a look. The 2x digital zoom on the Pocket 3 versus the 5x optical zoom on the iPhone, and I will not even zoom in 500% for you to understand the difference. To be honest, the Pocket 3 isn't a photo camera, at least for me. I wouldn't use it as a photo camera primarily, but still let's have a closer look at the photos comparison real quick. We're comparing the JPEG straight out of the cameras, 0.5x 12 megapixel mode, not even 48 megapixel mode on the iPhone, but still we can see that the photos are more or less identical if we don't pixel peep. So here we have the 1x camera in 24 megapixel mode, the image already looks better, and then we have the 500% scale crop, and you can tell that the image quality is miles ahead, and we're not even using the 48 megapixel mode of the iPhone. And just out of curiosity, the 2x digital zoom versus 5x camera, once again, not even comparable here. But guys, to be honest, in low light conditions, I'm not a fan of the image quality of the DJI Pocket 3. I brought it with me to Dubai and you can see some low light shots from this camera. And to be honest, the image falls apart pretty quickly, even at lower ISOs. Whereas the Apple Log on the iPhone does handle pretty well. Even the 15 Pro Max had pretty capable Apple Log capabilities in low light, and you can see how good of an image you can get in low light if you properly expose and use 1x camera. But guys, what's more important is the quality of the image stabilization, because DJI does have a built-in gimbal. So I've been using the Blackmagic camera app in the extreme level of stabilization, and when you start the recording, the LUT from the Apple Log disappears, which is making the image look grayish, and it's super shaky when you record it, but the results themselves are much better. So we'll start from the regular walking shots, like a vlogging style manner, and as you can tell, 0.5x camera is a lot wider than the Pocket 3's camera, and in terms of stability, I see better horizon levels on the DJI of course, but all in all the image is really stable on the iPhone in the extreme stabilization levels in Blackmagic camera as well. So here we can see the 1x camera, which is much tighter, where we get a lot more background blur and separation from the background, which I do prefer, and all in all, to my taste, the image from the iPhone does look a little better. And in terms of stabilization itself, I'm okay with the 1x stabilization because it does have the sensor shift technology as well. If you want to see yourself and properly monitor yourself, you can use a selfie camera, but it's miles worse than the DJI Pocket 3, so I wouldn't suggest using a selfie camera whenever, whatever, just compose your shot or use some kind of a mirror to compose yourself while using the primary camera of the iPhone. And here is the regular test of stabilization. It's a pretty fast test as well. I'm trying my best in terms of the ninja walk, you can see it in the bottom of the image, but in terms of stabilization itself, even when I run, I'm okay with the stabilization of the iPhone. It does show pretty good results, aside from slight horizon drifts, so it's much harder to keep the horizon leveled with the iPhone. With the 1x camera, the situation is very similar. I'm not really seeing any problems or major issues with the 1x camera of the iPhone compared to a real gimbal on the Pocket 3. and in my opinion it's more than usable. Keep in mind that if you'll be using it with an ND filter or in low light situations, you'll be having some issues when you use longer shutter speeds, but in daylight conditions it's more than fine. On the iPhone we also have a special mode called Action Mode. It crops in the image, the resolution drops from 4K to 2.8K, but you get a lot more stable footage. So let's take a closer look. As you can tell, the image is pretty tight with an extra crop on the 1x camera, but the stabilization level is crazy good. It's almost comparable to a real gimbal, and when you try to use it with 0.5x camera you get much worse image quality, but still you have pretty decent wideness of the shot. I'm not really using this technology that often because Apple Log, when you use it in regular mode in the regular app on the iPhone, it weighs like crazy amounts of gigabytes per minute, so I'm more than okay with the extreme stabilization in Blackmagic Camera app. Testing the microphone, guys. Now you're hearing the iPhone 16 Pro Max. 1, 2, 3 mic check. We're recording through the Blackmagic Camera app. That is why we don't have any fancy microphone features. And right now, guys, you're hearing the built-in microphone of the DJI, but you can use a DJI mic microphone with this system wirelessly, which is a very nice touch. So you can have better audio, wind muffs, etc. But with the iPhone, you can buy a third-party microphone and use it as well. Both cameras can record in 4K up to 120 frames per second, but right now we're just testing the base image quality in 4K 50. DJI also has a pretty cool feature called Active Track, but it does have some limitations, so when you reach the end point of the gimbal, it cannot rotate 360 degrees, it can simply lose you. But also on the iPhone you can purchase a separate gimbal like DJI RS4 Mini Pro, whatever. It has a little module that can enable the tracking. You simply show some gestures and it keeps tracking you. There are different brands and manufacturers who do such gimbals, so I don't think it's a major benefit of the DJI. It's cool that it's there, but it's not a game changer, at least for me. But what's really important, guys, to achieve a great cinematic look with your iPhone or with your DJI camera is the usage of ND and polarizing filters, because your shutter speed during daytime can be really short and the motion blur can be simply overwhelming. And the absence of motion blur can really irritate your viewer and make the image look choppy. So here are two examples. The DJI Pocket 3 with 1/8,000th of a second versus 1/50th of a second with ND 128 by our company. You see a dramatic difference in motion blur. Also, if you use DJI Pocket 3 for filming cars, the shutter speed should be really long to showcase the speed of the car. So the car is exactly in focus and the background is slightly blurred because of the motion blur, and it looks simply much better. We have developed a special limited edition mega kit of 14 different magnetic filters for DJI Pocket 3, including ND filters, CPL plus ND filters, and even the snow mist filter and an LPR filter that is used for astrophotography. And of course, guys, for the iPhones we also produce a ton of different filters and options, and it's very easy to use with our freewheel cases. But we also produce lenses both for the iPhone and for the DJI as well. And for DJI, they're super tiny, of course, but we have a special pack from 3 lenses, a wide-angle lens, a macro lens, and the anamorphic lens. So as you can tell, with the wide-angle lens you get a lot wider shot, with the macro lens you can focus a lot closer, and with the anamorphic lens you can get those cinematic flares and slightly wider field of view horizontally. So no matter which system you use, you can enhance and upgrade the image quality and overall feelings about your videos with our products. DJI Pocket 3 is definitely a great camera, but it's great for certain scenarios in my opinion. So if you do travel a lot and you prefer to use your phone in a different way, for example for maps or for something else, and keep it charged and juicy, the Pocket 3 is great. If you do a lot of gimbal-like moves, if you show mostly the landscape shots, or if you use it like this and you vlog in the very traditional way, let me say, just going and talking to the camera, it's great. It's also super nice for car mounting and to give you the emotion of those chasing scenes, especially with longer shutter speeds, as I showed you. Is simply great for this particular reason, or as a B or C cam, it's also pretty nice. But to me, guys, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is much more versatile, and I would much prefer using it in my vacations or even as a C or B cam with my Sony cameras as well, and I did it multiple times and the results are great. Which one would you pick, the iPhone or the DJI Pocket 3? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you did enjoy this video, smash the like and please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video, guys. Take care, bye.